The night was fire and chaos. Buildings collapsed in the distance, flames tearing through the dark sky, smoke rising like a signal to the heavens. Evelyn Stone pressed her back against a cracked wall, the roar of machine guns echoing through the streets. Her squad was scattered, pinned down by relentless fire. Somewhere in the distance, a soldier screamed, not in rage, but in agony. Evelyn's heart clenched. She knew that sound. It was Corporal Anders, one of the youngest in the unit, the one who always joked that she looked too small to be a soldier. They called me weak, Evelyn thought bitterly, her breath ragged. But tonight they'll see. She peeked around the corner, bullets sparking against the stone inches from her face. The enemy controlled the street, shadows moving in the firelight. Crossing it meant suicide, but Anders was out there, bleeding, helpless. Evelyn adjusted her helmet, tightened her grip on the rifle, and muttered to herself, "You're not leaving anyone behind." Her boots slammed against the dirt as she sprinted into the open. Gunfire erupted instantly, sparks and dust exploding around her. She didn't slow. Each step was a war drum, each heartbeat a countdown. There he was, Anders, half buried under debris, his leg twisted unnaturally. His eyes widened when he saw her. "Stone?" he gasped, blood streaking his face. Evelyn skidded to her knees, shoving rubble aside. "Stay with me!" she shouted, grabbing his vest. I can't move," Anders stammered, his voice breaking. Evelyn clenched her jaw. "Then I'll move for you." Bullets ripped through the street, one slamming into the wall inches from her head. She ducked low, sliding her rifle onto her back. With one motion, she hauled Anders onto her shoulders, his weight crushing her like iron. He was twice her size, his gear heavy with mud and blood. Every muscle in her body screamed, her knees buckling under the burden. But Evelyn stood, step by step, defying gravity, defying death itself. The squad's voices echoed faintly through the chaos. "Stone, get down! You'll never make it!" But she didn't listen. She couldn't. Each step forward was agony, her lungs burning, her back straining as Anders groaned against her shoulders. The world narrowed to fire, weight, and willpower. Behind her, the enemy's shouts grew louder. They thought she would fall, collapse under the impossible load. But Evelyn gritted her teeth and pressed on, her boots pounding against the burning street. And in that moment, she wasn't weak. She was unbreakable. Evelyn's knees trembled under the weight, but she refused to stop. Anders groaned against her shoulders, his breath shallow, his blood dripping down her back. The street stretched endlessly before her. Fire, smoke, and the rattling percussion of gunfire. Each step felt like wading through mud made of pain. From the windows above, muzzle flashes lit the darkness. Bullets cut through the air, some close enough to graze her helmet. Evelyn ducked low, shifting Anders's weight, her spine screaming in protest. "Put me down," Anders gasped, his voice weak. "You can't—" "Shut up," Evelyn growled, forcing another step. "We're walking out of here, together." Her squad's voices carried faintly through the chaos. "Stone, move right. Get to cover." But cover was a luxury she didn't have. With Anders on her back, her pace was slow, exposed. She turned sharply into an alley, the flames illuminating broken crates and a collapsed cart. She stumbled, nearly collapsing, but forced her legs to keep moving. The alley was tighter, darker, but at least it cut off the open fire. Anders coughed violently, each spasm rattling against her shoulders. Evelyn clenched her jaw. Every sound, every heartbeat reminded her how fragile his life was in her hands. A shout echoed behind them. Enemy voices closing in. Evelyn quickened her pace, lungs burning, vision swimming. She reached a broken doorway, half collapsed and staggered inside. The building smelled of ash and dust. Evelyn dropped to one knee, lowering Anders carefully onto the floor. He winced, clutching his chest. "You're bleeding out," she muttered, tearing a strip of fabric from her sleeve to wrap around his wound. Her hands moved with practiced precision, though they trembled with exhaustion. Anders tried to laugh, but it came out as a rasp. "And they called you weak." Evelyn's eyes burned. She yanked the bandage tight. "Yeah. Funny how wrong they were." The door suddenly burst inward, 2 enemies storming through with rifles raised. Evelyn spun, her sidearm already in her hand. 2 shots, 2 bodies hit the floor. She stood over them, chest heaving, the pistol still steady in her grasp. Her squad's radio crackled to life. "Stone, where are you? Report." She snatched it up, breathing hard. "I've got Anders. He's hurt bad. We're pinned inside a building near the North Street." "Hold your position," came the reply. "We'll get to you." Evelyn looked at Anders, pale and fading. She didn't believe those words. In war, "we'll get to you" often meant, "you're on your own." She tightened her grip on the radio. "Number, I'm not waiting. I'm bringing him out." Anders groaned. "You'll never make it." Evelyn cut him off, her eyes blazing. "Watch me." She heaved him back over her shoulders, her muscles screaming. Every fiber of her being wanted to collapse. But she rose, staggering to her feet once more. Outside, the night roared with fire. The alley glowed red as another explosion rocked the ground. Evelyn clenched her teeth, stepped forward, and vanished into the storm. The night was alive with fire. Evelyn stumbled through the alley, Anders's weight pressing her shoulders down like chains. Every step was a battle, every breath a war. Behind them, enemy shouts grew louder. Gunfire rattled the walls, sparks flying with every strike. Evelyn pressed herself against the corner of a building, her chest heaving. She adjusted Anders's weight, his head lolling weakly against her back. "Stay with me, Anders," she muttered. Her voice was steel, even if her body was breaking. Anders groaned, his words barely audible. "You should have left me." Evelyn's eyes narrowed. "Not my style." The sound of boots drew closer. She leaned against the wall, raised her pistol with one hand, and fired down the alley. 2 shadows fell, but more surged forward. She couldn't hold them forever. Her radio crackled again. "Stone, where the hell are you?" "Still moving," she barked, her voice strained. "Carrying Anders. Outnumbered, but not out." Static answered, then a voice. "We can't reach you." "Too hot." Evelyn clenched her teeth. Too hot. Too dangerous. Too impossible. She'd heard those excuses 100 times. She knew what they meant. "You're on your own." She looked back at Anders, fading but alive. Her resolve hardened. "Then I'll get us out myself." She surged forward again, dragging her legs through fire and rubble. Ahead, the street opened into a square lit by burning vehicles. The open ground was suicide. But it was the only way out. Her heart thundered in her ears. She adjusted Anders, took one deep breath, and sprinted into the open. Gunfire erupted instantly. Bullets tore into the ground around her, ricocheting off stone. She zigzagged, Anders' weight throwing her off balance, but she kept running. Each step felt like it might be her last. Halfway across, Anders stirred weakly. "You can't carry me forever." Evelyn gritted her teeth, sweat and ash streaking her face. "I don't need forever. I just need enough." A shot clipped her arm, burning pain slicing through her sleeve. She staggered but didn't fall. Her boots pounded against the broken stones, the roar of the battlefield drowning out her own scream. At last, she reached the far side, slamming into cover behind a broken wall. She collapsed to one knee, Anders sliding slightly, but she refused to let him go. Her squad's voices echoed faintly now, closer than before. They were out there, searching. Hope flickered, but the enemy wasn't done. More shadows appeared across the square, rifles raised. Evelyn's heart raced. She had no strength left to fight. She lowered Anders gently to the ground, gripping her sidearm with shaking hands. Her arms trembled, her vision blurred. She whispered to him, "If they come, I'll keep you safe, even if it kills me." Anders's eyes fluttered, his lips forming a single word. Strong. The word pierced her deeper than any bullet. She clenched her jaw, raised her weapon, and prepared to face the storm. The square was quiet for a heartbeat, the kind of silence that feels like it belongs to death itself. Evelyn crouched against the wall, her sidearm heavy in her trembling hands. Anders breathing faintly beside her. The enemy's boots pounded closer, their shadows stretching long in the firelight. Evelyn's muscles screamed with exhaustion, but her spirit refused to break. She had carried Anders this far. She would not stop now. Through the haze of smoke, she spotted her squad. Hale, Ramirez, and 2 others, emerging cautiously on the far side of the square. Relief flooded her chest. She wanted to shout, but the enemy was too close. Gunfire erupted again, shredding the stone around her. Evelyn leaned forward, shielding Anders with her body. Every instinct screamed at her to run, but there was nowhere left to go. Hale's voice cut through the chaos. "Covering fire!" Her squad opened up, their rifles spitting flames across the square. The enemy staggered under the assault, some falling, others diving for cover. Evelyn seized the chance. With a grunt, she pulled Anders back onto her shoulders. Her legs buckled, her back on fire, but she pushed herself upright. Step by step, she staggered from behind the wall, carrying him into the open once more. "Stone! Over here!" Ramirez shouted, his voice desperate. Bullets snapped past her ears, the air hot with violence. Evelyn's boots pounded against the rubble, every step an act of rebellion against the impossible. The distance between her and her squad felt like miles, but she kept going. Anders's blood seeping against her uniform, her vision tunneling. Finally, she stumbled into their reach. Hale and Ramirez rushed forward, grabbing Anders and easing him from her shoulders. Evelyn collapsed to her knees, gasping for air, her arms limp at her sides. "Medic! Get him stable!" Hale barked, already pressing gauze to Anders's wounds. Evelyn's vision blurred, her heartbeat hammering in her skull. She felt a hand on her shoulder. Ramirez, his eyes wide. "You carried him through hell," he whispered. "I thought they were right about you. I thought you were weak." Evelyn met his gaze, her lips curling into a faint, exhausted smile. Guess they were wrong. A distant explosion rocked the square, but the squad had Anders now. They had each other. And for the first time that night, Evelyn felt the faint spark of victory. As dawn broke, the fires began to fade, leaving smoke curling into the gray sky. Evelyn sat quietly, her rifle across her lap, watching the horizon. The whispers of weakness that had haunted her since training were gone. She had carried more than just Anders that night. She had carried the weight of doubt, the sneers, the voices that said she wasn't enough. And she had crushed them, step by step, with every ounce of strength inside her. History wouldn't remember the details, but her squad would. Anders would. And Evelyn Stone would never again be called weak. Because that night, under fire and flame, she had proven the truth. Strength isn't measured by size, but by sacrifice.